Arrests are coming.
We've been obsessed with this story on this channel for quite a while. A Chinese national at the University of Michigan cast an election in the 2024 election. Michigan, of course, a critical swing state. Joe Biden technically won the 2020 election. No, he didn't. But it was Michigan that they were able to rig and that they were able to foist into Biden's column, and that really tipped the scale, right? So Michigan, a critical swing state. Chinese communists voting in the election, charged with voting in the election. The vote counted. I'll just give you if the Chinese Communist Party is telling their people how to vote in America to rig our elections, I'll just give you one guess. Do you think it's for Trump or Kamala Harris? Yeah, okay. That vote counted for Kamala Harris. No takesies, backsies. And then he fled the country. How did he flee the country? Because this individual was voting illegally and was facing charges. The reason why they were able to flee the country, Huang Zhao was able to flee the country, was because Huang Zhao got a fake visa and passport after his was confiscated, given to him, no doubt, by communist Chinese apparatchiks, and smuggled back to China. Isn't that amazing? This is like some type of Jason Bourne, intel operation. They were able to smuggle their fake Chinese voter back home. How many fake Chinese votes were there in the 2020 election? That's my question for you. In every single state, including, of course, Michigan, but in every single state in America, there is voting fraud. Here's a map of voter fraud in America. And you can see that there are, thousands of cases in some states, but tens of thousands of cases throughout the land. And this is a major problem, especially for Democrats who say that voter fraud, there wasn't any voter fraud, then that voter fraud is rare, and then that they actually have no idea how much voter fraud there is. And there's a lot of it. Ladies and gentlemen, Kash Patel was on Fox News today, and he was saying that, yes, indeed, we have figured out that the 2020 election was stolen. FBI Director Kash Patel says agency has evidence backing Trump's 2020 stolen election claims. This, of course, comes on the heels of President Trump ordering a raid of the Fulton County warehouse where they kept the votes. And they now have the forensic evidence. And so if there was actual evidence to any of this, it would be kept there along with Maricopa County. There was also a raid in Maricopa County, but got less media attention for obvious reasons. FBI Director Kash Patel on Sunday said the Bureau gathered evidence supporting Trump's claim that the 2020 election was stolen and that he's not ready to share the information with the public just yet. He doesn't want to get ahead of the investigation. We have information that backs President Trump's claims, says Patel. I can't get ahead of the DOJ and the president, but President Trump speaks truthfully when he says that. He urges viewers to stay tuned. You might see a thing or two. Okay. I mean, do you believe it at this point? I'm not sure. His comments came as he was pushing back against a bombshell report in The Atlantic alleging that he has a drinking problem. We covered that as well on the channel. So Kash Patel says that arrests are coming over 2020 election fraud. They tried to rig the entire system. And something we're not going to allow. We are going to make arrests. It's coming. I promise you this is happening soon. Maybe this, ladies and gentlemen, is why they are going after Kash Patel so harshly. Here we go.
Because every time I see President Trump, he says this repeatedly, that the election was rigged in 2020. I mean, he says it all the time. We all know that. And it's almost getting lost because he says it so much. You've been at the FBI now 14 months. Have you done anything about that? And do you have anything to tell us about that?
Absolutely, Maria. Look, I've been with the president nearly since day one on this. As I told you earlier, I was the one that led the effort with folks like Trey Gowdy, Johnny Ratcliffe, and Devin Nunes to expose the corruption that tried to thwart President Trump's first presidential election run. And we saw the FISA abuses there. And I lived through it, and the media came at me then, too. That just shows you that when you're over the target, you keep pummeling the target because the media is going to try and pummel you. We are not going to take this and have not taken this laying down. We did already indict former Director Comey, and that's going through the judicial process. But we also, at this FBI, even though we uncovered what we uncovered back in the House Intel days, I had to come in here and find rooms that they hid from the world. I had to come in here and find access on our computer systems in restricted and prohibited case files that they purposely put in places for no one to see and find. We have found all this information. We are working with our Department of Justice partners, and I am never going to let this go, because they not only have personally attacked the presidency of the United States and President Trump, but they tried to thwart our elections and rig the entire system. And that is not something that is going to stop on it. That is not something I'm going to allow on my watch. But you just have to remember, they built this disease temple over 20 and 30 years. We've got all the evidence. I can announce on your show that we've got all the information we need. We're working with our prosecutors at the Department of Justice and their Attorney General Todd Blanche, and we are going to be making arrests. And it's coming, and I promise you, it's coming soon.
Well, okay. Phrasing, but well done. Here we go. I am tired of the tough talk. Do it or shut up. These are some of the responses. Arrest them all and the judges who protected the traitors. I sure hope so. Just got more Fulton data today and ruined this beautiful Sunday. Ooh, this is Mad Liberals, who does incredible work on all of this. Timing of the press attacks against Kash Patel, they are stupid. Obviously, there's a lot of attacks against Kash Patel. We covered that the Atlantic ran a story that Kash Patel was drunk all day, drunk all the time, and that he shows up to work drunk, and then that the FBI had to get a piece of breaching equipment in order to get through the actual door to wake up Kash Patel because it was so blackout. And Kash Patel is now suing over this story. He's suing the Atlantic over this story. I hope that it comes before the midterms. Kash Patel would serve as a big warning to potential election criminals in 2026 and energize the base that doubts accountability is possible. By arrest, I hope he means Pelosi, Obama, Clinton, otherwise. It'll amount to very little. Okay, I guess we'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, FBI Director Kash Patel promised arrests are coming soon in regard to the 2020 election fraud. Something we're not going to allow. We're going to be making arrests is coming. I promise you. It is coming soon. Just a reminder that Tulsi Gabbard said effectively the same thing. Tulsi Gabbard here pictured in Georgia inside of the warehouse with the ballots talking with President Trump. President Trump specifically directed DNI Tulsi Gabbard to go to the warehouse in Fulton County in connection with the investigation, the 2020 election. They took all the evidence. Let's see if they have the evidence. It'll be very interesting. These ballots have never been inspected. So I guess we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section. Is this just going to be another fizzle out thing? It's just a bunch of tough talk. We had tough talk on the Epstein files and got nothing, tried to get nothing. Still don't have everything. But again, let me know what you think in the comment section. We're going to get it this time. It's your boy Benny. See ya.